Ice cream.
Ice cream.
It's questionable whether any more episodes of this podcast will ever be released. I look down, like that is not. There is. I'm just saying. There was Prince. You know, at the time was known as Prince. I'd say better than even money.
No, let's just do the podcast.
BFTP party.
You're listening to Bear Friend Tea Party, a podcast that future you recorded, then went back in time and posted on iTunes as a warning to present you to never listen to Bear Friend Tea Party. Joining you from Kansas, the Sunflower State, I'm Christopher Winter. And on the program with me tonight, from New York, the Empire State Building State, D. Beamish.
Hey everyone, it's great to be here.
From Missouri, the full frontal nudity state,
So
J.Mullis of North Carolina.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
And joining us from Oregon, the Wisconsin state, Dr. Jonathan Bumpers.
Currently wearing pants.
And that is the extent of my preparation for this podcast. I figure the rest will pretty much record itself.
I think it already has.
I did want to. We do have to open tonight's podcast on a bit of a sad note. We are saying goodbye to our intern Saeed, who Saeed, is that his name?
Syed.
Syed.
He's being...
We're sad to see him go, but he was completely incompetent.
He shouldn't have let the fucking dogs out.
He's moving on to...
He let the dogs out. He has not edited any of these episodes. So long, Syed. We'll miss you.
Good luck. Good luck at your new job on the hit NPR show
Slate Political
Marketplace.
That's funnier.
I like these routines where we pretend that this is an actual
Strictly speaking, it is an actual podcast.
Yeah.
It's not some kind of mock podcast.
Why do you guys think our podcast is not like world famous?
Technically a podcast.
Jeremy, you have just to clarify, you have not, like, for the last year and a half or however long, you haven't been just telling us that you're posting the podcast on iTunes and somehow just adding it to our personal feeds, but no one else's, have you?
That would be really impressive.
That would have been a really good prank.
It would have been functionally indistinguishable from what's actually happened.
That's a very Kantian notion.
I don't know if it's Kantian. I think it's
isn't it? It's like the demon.
It's functionally indistinguishable. I think that it'd be. I mean, it sounds like pragmatism to me.
Well, what the fuck? I didn't study philosophy.
No, that's Kantian.
Jeremy, let me ask you a question. Jeremy, what's on the program tonight?
Good, well, he asked.
Well,
was that a hyperbolic question?
Well, we've got a great show for you tonight. Tonight on Bear Friend Tea Party, segment 1, reminiscing about... Chris, are you still going with this?
No.
Okay.
Why does
segment
everyone
1,
assume that's a fake segment?
Segment 1, reminiscing about people we have killed in self-defense.
Just hearing it's funny.
Segment 3, nagging question. Can you really make gin in an old bathtub?
I'm kind of
Segment
offended
4,
that everyone assumes that segment is real, but mine is fake.
Segment 4, fake toilet parts. And segment 2, classic ill-fated fast food ventures, the Burger King Kingdom. But before we get into that, why don't we do letters and shit?
I don't know.
So let's see. Yeah, okay, this week... oh, right. This week I'm actually going to read some fake listener correspondence.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I made this up. This is just a joke.
Novel.
This is
shooting your
joke listener correspondence referencing an episode that we didn't actually do. Well, we got a.
Thanks for setting the scene.
Well, you don't want a War of the Worlds situation here. You don't want him to like read fake letters and people think
maybe that's exactly what I
people
want.
think they're real, and then before you know it, they're killing each other. It's chaos on the streets.
We got a hell of a listener response to our episode 00030 by corn funny sound effect, in which we did a segment on life hacks that you can do to kind of make your little tricks you can do to make your life easier, which we call life hacks, and other people also
coined that
call
term.
it that. But we had asked our listeners to send in their own little life hacks that they wanted to share with us, and we got a great response. I'm just going to read a few of them here from the mountain of responses we did get. Regular listener, super fan, and President of the United States, Drew Bees.
funny.
It's a funny name.
Wrote in to share this little tip. He says, make a birdhouse out of an old VCR or refrigerator.
That's an excellent idea.
Great. It's a great tip, Drew. We really appreciate that. I'm sure a lot of our listeners will appreciate that. Regular listener, Robot Ed, and robot is in quotes, he writes in to share this tip. He says, drive your car in reverse to get out of tight spots and save gas also.
Yeah.
That's funny and true.
It's funny because it's true.
And I'm just going to share one more. Listener Cyborg Chevy Chase Dispenser writes in with this little life hack. He suggests, neighbor having sex with your wife, punch that piece of shit in the face and threaten additional violence. That's a...
Oh, man.
That's an innovative tip from Cyborg Chevy Chase Dispenser.
Jeremy,
I like that one started with a question.
Jeremy, that was a hyperbole. Jeremy, can we just circle back really quickly to Drew B's? Just want to, I'm sure Drew knows this, but just...
Regular listener and super
President
fan.
of the United States.
And President
Drew
of the
B's.
United States.
I'm sure
Drew
he,
B's.
as he is President of the United States, I'm sure he knows this. But just for our listeners, if you do make a birdhouse out of a refrigerator, you got to remember to take the door off that thing, because you don't want the birds to accidentally get themselves stuck inside. It's...
No, and if you're making a birdhouse out of an old VCR, I guess you should probably pull that flap off that like automatically closes.
Yeah, and like melt it down and completely reconstruct it into a different shape entirely.
It's like an old VCR hanging from the branch of a tree with a bunch of birds.
I mean, the
stuck
thing
in
is,
it.
like, don't be an ass. You know, rewind your birds before you return them to the shop.
Be
What
kind.
about a
Think about
Betamax
other-
player? I think that might work better.
A Betamax would only work on like an
Shape-wise.
Archaeopteryx.
That is...
It's
I
an
get it. I
obscure
get it.
joke, but if you think about it,
It's not that obscure.
yeah, I mean, you had to. That's a way Homer.
I'm glad we mentioned Archaeopteryx. We haven't...
Well,
it's been a
if
few
you
episodes
listen, if you listen
since
closely,
Archaeopteryx came up.
we mention Archaeopteryx on every episode of Bear Friend Tea Party.
Yeah,
Who listens
we definitely
closely?
had a lengthy discussion of Archaeopteryx on episode 00030. But bicorn sound, crashing cars, etc.
I have something of an addenda.
A what?
An addendum. I don't know if it's going to be interesting
I'd
enough.
like to hear it.
All right. Well, okay.
I would also very much like to hear it.
So, in episode 00042, How High Are Your Roundhouse Kicks? J.Mullis from North Carolina was reading an email from listener Robot Ed, with robot in quotes, and you referred to them as scare quotes.
Yes.
And I wanted to look that up because it sounded like the wrong term. I thought the term scare quotes was only to be used like in a literal
Like
sense.
about a mummy?
Like when you're trying to frighten the listener,
Right.
you know? But it turns out that's not
What
the
do you-
case. If you look at the Wikipedia article on scare quotes, there's actually another use of the term, which I think is pretty much what Robot Ed was going for here, which is that it's to indicate that the word or phrase in quotes is being used in a non-standard, ironic, or otherwise special sense. So I just wanted to say that I think the term is confusing.
It is that.
And a separate point, they are also referred to as sneer quotes.
That I don't like.
That seems more appropriate in that instance, because it's not like Robot Ed's trying to scare somebody.
Do you get the impression that the term scare quotes, which came first, air quotes or scare quotes?
Is that a hypophoric question?
Did we call them scare quotes because we already had a term called air quotes and it had a nice kind of ring to it, like...
No, I think they're completely different.
But they rhyme.
Air quotes are how you do scare quotes when you're speaking, I think. On a separate note, the Wikipedia article for scare quotes contains a cautionary note that suggests it's a good idea not to overuse them because I guess it can potentially create kind of a distancing effect with the reader.
Like if every word is in scare quotes.
The Wikipedia article for scare quotes contains many, many quotes of like single words that like really makes it look like they are scare quotes.
Did you know that the novel Moby Dick, in the original printing, actually the entire story was in scare quotes?
No, I didn't know that.
Like it opens and ends
like
with
the
a single
entire
quote.
the entire
Yeah.
thing is like maybe
Yeah,
it didn't
it's all
happen.
supposed to be just kind of like a little bit snide.
Scare quotes have been described as ubiquitous.
Segment 1, reminiscing about people we have killed in self-defense.
So look, I was thinking, like, we've been family a long time, like most of my life, and we've had a lot of experiences, some of them fun, some of them, less fun. I thought maybe we could just go around real quick and informally reminisce about some of the times that we've all killed people in self-defense. Because I was thinking the other day, you probably remember when we spent the summer in New Mexico that time, and the four of us were wandering, through the Pinon Forest, got away from Lachlan, who was babysitting us, and came across that vagrant who, at the time it seemed threatening, He was clearly drunk. You know, he charged us, and well, I mean, I don't need to get into the details of what happened, but we swore we disposed of the body. We said we would never speak of it again.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Is this segment people we killed together in self-defense?
Well, I mean, a little bit of both. Like, I'm just thinking back on the real live memories, like the ones that come to my mind, and a lot of those.
If we
are
need to, we
us
can
together.
separate this into two different segments.
Yeah. No,
But if you have a really vivid memory of so, like, I feel like the three of us have heard these stories over and over again, but our listeners probably haven't.
Well,
Right.
I mean,
and
so I was thinking this was
just to wrap up. Turned out the man we killed, former Supreme Court Chief Justice Earl Warren.
Well,
All I can say is, good thing New Mexico has that stand your ground law.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Well, I mean, we were never really.
Does it? I don't actually know.
He behaved in a threatening manner.
so guys, I've never. I don't think I quite understood the premise of this segment, but I'm going to go ahead with this anyway.
Seemed very straightforward.
I've never really talked to anyone about this. I killed Richard Dreyfuss in self-defense. The well-known actor Richard Dreyfuss.
Right.
By yourself?
Yeah, by myself. I ran him over with my car in self-defense. It was.
Well, he had it coming.
It was kind of a weird time for me.
Yeah.
But he seemed threatening in the movie Jaws.
I mean, he didn't seem like an animal lover.
He didn't. He most certainly did not.
I was thinking of his role in the movie What About Bob?
Was he in What About Bob?
Yeah, he tries to kill Bill Murray.
That's a good point.
With
It's
dynamite.
funny, when you ask someone about people they've killed in self-defense, it's amazing how often Richard Dreyfuss comes up.
A lot of people have killed Richard Dreyfuss in self-defense. Richard Dreyfuss, who I guess is still alive, but I wasn't sure if he was dead. I just tried to think of a random celebrity quickly.
Hard to know.
But I think he was a good choice.
Yeah, no, I think he was. It
No, that was
reminds me,
good.
Jeremy,
That was
you
good.
probably remember, like, when we were really little, we'd go up to Mendocino in Northern California, and out in the woods. I remember hiking out there. Our dad was away somewhere, maybe drunk.
Giving a
Could
TED
have
talk.
been giving a TED talk. We came upon a black bear, California black bear, and I don't know if maybe she thought that we were threatening her cubs or trying to steal her honey or wanted our picnic basket, but just came a crashing through the undergrowth at us, mauled you, knocked you over. Adrenaline took over, and I just shoved my arm like directly into her mouth, and then up through squash the brain, through the brain cavity.
Through the bear's mouth?
Yeah, through the mouth. That's a thing you can do.
You
remember
like
that.
through the bear's
you remember
mouth,
that.
and I remember that now.
And
I was thinking that you went in through the eye socket.
I mean, that would be another way to do it.
Isn't
but
this
adrenaline
segment
came
called
over.
Reminiscing about people we have killed in
John,
self-defense?
You gotta wait for the kicker. Bear falls over. We investigate the body. Richard Dreyfuss in a bear costume. Fucking Dreyfuss.
Classic.
Yeah, classic.
Oh, man,
classic
okay, I've got one.
Dreyfuss.
Do you guys remember that one time that we killed California Senator Barbara Boxer in self-defense.
Wait, which time?
This would have been last autumn.
Okay.
Wait,
I was thinking of a time in the 90s.
No.
Okay.
This was more recent. This was after we started the podcast.
You might not have been there in the 90s.
She was listening to the podcast and she did not like it. And she was getting ready to post a negative review on iTunes.
Those reviews will literally kill you.
Hi-oh!
I would be happy for some negative review. Chris, some of these segments, like, I think, like, you like think it's going to be really obvious to everyone what you're going for.
No, I think this was pretty obvious.
Well, it is unclear whether these are, like, I thought we were all going to be confessing to the group.
I mean, you can if you want.
About, like, our own personal kills that we, like, hadn't talked about.
I mean, I feel bad that Danny's not here. I know one of the classics for him back when he was in his 20s. He and his wife Allie were first dating, and they were walking to had gone to see a movie. Threatened, by a mugger. Again, Danny reacts immediately. Adrenaline takes over. Shoves his hand into the mugger's mouth, like into the brain cavity, crushes the mugger's brain with his hand.
That's how you do it.
Chris, all of yours are eerily similar.
And that night, that was the first night they made love. He wakes up the next morning, looks over,
hot.
Wakes up the next. Yeah, it was hot, tender, sensitive,
smoking.
Wakes up the next morning, looks over at the woman he thinks may be the one. Looks over, who's in the bed with him? Fucking Richard Dreyfuss.
Fucking Richard Dreyfuss. God damn it. I think there's one that you're forgetting.
Oh,
do you remember?
Shit, you're right.
Wait, the other.
And I know
Barbara
it's hard for you to
one?
discuss. No. A little fellow named Buzz Aldrin. Second man on the moon.
Second comes right after first.
Well, I don't remember what the second thing is, but the first thing is more important anyway.
Self-proclaimed second man on the moon. I mean, the thing is, yeah, he made it to the moon. Did he get back?
Look.
Yes, he did.
That was a great music video he did a couple years ago.
Did he do a music video?
The one with Snoop Dogg?
Yeah, the Rocket Experience.
Was it great, though?
Yeah, of course
I didn't
it was
watch
great.
it.
Was it?
I assume that was why Jeremy killed him, because it was such a great
trust
video.
your judgment.
I was like,
there's going to be a link in the show notes to that.
I didn't want him
video.
to try to follow it up and fail.
Yeah.
As so often happens.
It's really his own self-defense in which you killed him.
Well, I mean, I guess I killed Prince for similar reasons, though I wish I had done it 15 years earlier. So we were walking to the gas station, and I'm carrying this gas can. It's kind of raining a little, and suddenly out of the shadows, this, like, really snazzily dressed guy comes out and starts, like, doing all these crazy moves, and I just, like, pretty much the adrenaline, like, kicked in, and I just acted on instinct, and, like, I just basically, I've never done something like this before, but my fist just like...
Is this thing on?
It just like came out of nowhere, went straight like into his mouth and up, and like my hand went up into his like head cavity. My fingers like reached up in and like crushed his brain with my bare hands. I've never had an experience like that before or since. With a few exceptions, I looked down and then I realized lying dead on the ground there was Prince, who at the time was known as Prince. And and then we were like, oh shit, this looks really bad. We rolled him over, and on the back of his head was another face, and that face was Richard Dreyfuss. It was really fucked up. But in any case, we burnt the body and like threw it over an overpass. No one ever found out. It was pretty cool on the whole. I believe we missed your piano lesson, though.
Well, I was late.
And that's the story of how I killed Prince and Richard Dreyfuss in self-defense. Segment 3, nagging question. Can you really make gin in an old bathtub? This is my segment. I'll be leading this segment. So we've all heard the term bathtub gin used to refer to a very low-quality hard liquor, presumably in the gin family. Generally, like this is we're referring to something from the Prohibition era. And the presumption to me has always been that like people are making this is kind of DIY low quality gin that people make in their bathtubs. And that got me thinking, can you really make gin in an old bathtub? And the answer is no.
Oh.
Is it?
Yeah,
I thought you could make gin in whatever.
Jeremy, I have a different answer.
I told you John should have done it. He's going to say that you can. Let's vote. I think John should lead this segment.
So the answer I have written down in my notes is...
Well, I should say, it is a tradition...
You didn't even let him say the one word that is the only other possible answer.
Go on, sorry.
No, what if it's maybe? No, it says...
We're not that
it
kind
says
of
yes.
podcast. This
It
is
says-
not a philosophy
it says yes.
podcast.
Yes, it says yes, you can make gin in pretty much anything.
Thank you.
Those are my notes for this segment.
What, like a new bathtub?
I guess that...
Doesn't matter who.
A working
What about like a
bathtub.
hot tub?
Doesn't matter who.
Doesn't matter who.
Well, it wouldn't work unless you stopped up the drain. Otherwise, it's
Yeah,
just
it's just
wasting
gonna
your
get-
time.
It's just like making a...
You
it's just like if you're making a boat out of an old bathtub.
Right,
you gotta
exactly.
clog that. You gotta stop that drain up.
Yeah, otherwise you just pour in gin in there and it just goes out.
Well, if
You can
That
make
is
gin
the
in
mental
any
image that
container
my
that you
sentence
can
evoked,
that you
Chris.
can seal off.
Chris,
It doesn't matter.
It sounds like your idea of making gin in a bathtub, Chris, is filling your bathtub with gin.
That's how I do it. That's exactly how I would do it.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
the
I'll
gin
tell
would be
you-
produced in the bathtub.
I'm going to tell you a
It would
little
not
bit
be gin prior to putting the ingredients into the bath.
I mean,
in keeping
That's your
with
opinion.
tradition.
I think
for
it depends
the,
on what kind of
Wait,
gin
let
you're
him-
trying
let
to
him
make.
go.
Slow gin.
Bathtub gin.
Typically,
Chris
Then no problem.
Let Jeremy. Let
Jeremy,
go.
you
Come
were
on.
saying?
okay, I mean, traditionally, in our nagging question series of topics, the amount of research that I do is to skim the first page of Google image search results. And when I did that, I don't see any examples of like legitimate looking stills created using bathtubs. I think that I think
I get it. Stills.
Still.
Well played.
I'm going to say no. I think that.
Good night, everybody.
I think that you could probably.
That's showbiz. Good night.
I think you could probably, if you were illicitly distilling hard liquor in your house, you might do it in the bathroom. You might do it in your bathroom. You might use a bathtub as kind of just a handy large vessel to store liquid, but you're not going to be able to distill hard liquor in a bathtub. Mm-hmm. It's just not. It's not feasible. You're going to need a lot of other equipment.
You would need a distillery.
Right, but you use the bathtub as part of the process, right? You need a vat.
I'm willing to accept that the bathtub may have been used in like some kind of bootlegging activity. I don't think it's
like
integral
the reservoir
to the process
to
of
catch the.
maybe. Maybe. You
Okay,
fill it
so
with
what
ice.
you're saying, Jeremy, is that as the leader of this segment, you are saying that can you make a can you make gin in an old bathtub? Yes. Can you make gin with only an old bathtub? No.
I disagree with both questions.
You can't disagree with a question.
Can't rent a car with
I
shower
think
curtain.
to the extent,
Maybe you can. I don't know.
you make a good point.
The question wasn't about distilled gin. The question was about gin.
Can you alcohol without distillation?
Yeah, apparently all you need is like some alcohol and like a bunch of the
if
shit.
you
Wait. So you already have the alcohol?
Yeah,
That
if you
seems like
already
cheating.
have the alcohol. I mean, that's basically like Chris's idea, where you just pour gin in the
would work.
bathtub.
Right, or like I can make super glue. Just get some glue, and like fuck
No,
that.
it's
You know,
totally
like
different.
I don't
It's
buy.
totally
I guess what John. So what you're saying is like if you just had like grain alcohol or like vodka, you could basically
actually
use it.
that's what's recommended. So my father recently had a birthday, and I actually bought him a gin making kit. And step one of the kit was buy some vodka.
See, that sounds like.
And I thought that sounded sketchy too. But it turns out that like that's like originally that was how gin was made. It was by taking other alcohol and just like soaking a bunch of flowers and herbs and shit in it for a couple days
To make it slightly more palatable, right?
to make it to turn it into gin, which is
So
fucking
do you
awesome.
think so? Is the presumption then that? But like obviously during Prohibition, you couldn't just go out and buy vodka to make bathtub gin, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. But the question, the question really ought to be: Can you distill gin in an old bathtub?
Or I would follow that with the question: Can you make vodka in an old bathtub? Because it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, not just not just pulling it out of the mouse hole here, right?
I guess I'm gonna
I guess if you're making alcohol, you need some kind of pressure. I don't know how fucking alcohol is made. You need like some pressure or something, right?
Yeah, you
just need to like let it grow shit by like I don't know. You put it in an old boot.
I think we're all basically.
You probably need some hops in there too.
We're pretty uneducated.
I think we're all basically in agreement here, which is that
if you
could
had a large
use-
enough bathtub, you could just put a distillery inside of it.
I think we're all basically in agreement here.
If you just fill the bathtub with vodka, throw a bunch of juniper berries and other, shit in there,
Pour some gin in.
then you got some gin.
You know, if you put
after a couple days, you're
I
set.
think if you put vodka and juniper berries through a Brita,
Both come from Earth.
it'll just come out as gin.
I think Grey Goose vodka is Grey Goose vodka.
I think somebody's
Did that go the way you wanted it?
Yeah, I think that was. I'm pretty satisfied with that. Didn't go. I got a lot more pushback than I thought I would, but I think it really does depend on what you mean by making gin. I think we all agree you could use a bathtub as a vessel to infuse vodka with botanicals. You certainly, if you were distilling liquor in your bathroom, you could use the bathtub just as a handy multi-purpose vessel, perhaps for the initial fermentation or to hold a bunch of ice when you're distilling. You would need more than just a bathtub, though, and you would definitely need to plug up the hole so that the gin didn't go right back out.
No, that's true. I mean, you can make gin in an old bathtub in the same way you can grow a shark in an old bathtub. But you need it to come from somewhere else first.
I mean, saying that, well, okay, you need more than just the bathtub. I mean, that's kind of like answering the question with, can you make a casserole in a pot?
That's not the question.
But it's kind of like answering that question.
Tune
with
in next week to find out.
I guess my question now, were we to continue this segment, which we definitely should not, My now the questions I have are like, during Prohibition, what, if any, role did the bathtub play in the gin making process? Because we can certainly imagine some ways it might have been used, assuming it was used at all. Or is that just kind of a pejorative term that arose like after Prohibition, just to kind of refer to shitty booze? And I mean, these questions cannot be answered by skimming the first page of results of a Google image search, unfortunately.
It's true. This podcast has its limitations.
She wants a big butter and egg.
Oh, yeah.
Man. From way out in the west. She's getting tired of dancing all night. Just want somebody to hold her tight. Yeah, she said that fancy clothes have never been mine. Just wait someday, that sun is gonna be mine. Yeah, 'cause she wants butter and egg.
That's what I am famous for.
California, USA.
Richard Dreyfuss. I'm well known to many from coast to coast.
She wants a big butter and egg man from California, USA.
Reputation precedes me.
On my guitar, I'll play some hot licks. Hey, that's the technique I use on all the chicks. Well, my butter's number one, and my eggs are grade A. I can make delivery of them 15 times a day. She wants that butter and egg man from California, USA. Dee-dee-do-dee-do-da.
California,
Segment 4, fake toilet parts.
All right, everybody.
Alrighty, that's a pretty good profession.
Welcome to another edition of Fake Toilet Parts.
Classic
No.
Ever since we've been doing these.
Yeah, right. Hey, everyone out there in Bear Friend Tea Party land. Hey, Bear Friends. So here we are with another segment, another edition of Fake Parts. Tonight, we're going to be focusing on this is one you've been requesting for a while, and I know that you Patreon donors have already heard this, but tonight we're going to give it to the rest of you. We're talking about fake toilet parts tonight. Butt flap,
The dongle.
reverse thread broaster cups,
Ball cock supply valve.
pipe groat,
self-sealing stem bolts.
odor hole,
The Dowager Countess.
Tank grease.
Spud washer.
Rotator pinch knobs.
Reverse graduated bobber.
Rotator... overflow toggle.
Angry Beehive.
Pot paste.
Float adjustment screw.
Backup urine reservoir.
Cleft sprocket.
Chump threads.
The Ghost Flush.
Mesh dump arm.
Tank bolt.
Safety dump plugs.
Smell rod.
Corrode-proof Wimblewobbits.
Canadian Sky Canoe.
Imitation porcelain water hog.
Hot pink faux fur seat cover.
Wrench nesters.
Desalination module.
Rust-o-root emergency brush.
Home Urine.
Whip chamber.
Emergency flush stop chain.
Flush governor.
Flow inversion toggle.
Copper glunderhooked under nozzle.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Stainless fuck tube.
Water uptake flange.
Poop drain caps.
Flap needle.
Grundle lever.
Industrial strength urine.
Rumble chain.
Articulated flush arm extension.
Boll weevil coating.
Thresher valve.
Commercial pressure slide.
I'm out.
Big butt getting up sensor.
Cantilevered seat retractor.
Filter fairies.
Cross flow tube nut.
Nodes.
Extreme overflow outlet.
Bloaters.
Double threaded Q gasket.
The plumber's taco.
I'm out.
I haven't read these back. Ratchet grooved Gunter hinges.
Go to the bathroom.
How apropos.
Are you out, Jeremy?
I'm out.
I've only got
Oh, okay. I got a couple more.
Bargle muffin.
Fecal distillation chamber.
Corn magnets.
Spring attenuated camshaft.
Beryllium Neezer footstops.
Steam pipe trunk distribution venue.
Auger fripped tootling area.
The Burj Khalifa.
Is that really tall building?
Yes.
1/8 inch never bolts.
The nozzle.
U-ring U-dongles.
I'm out.
And the last fake toilet part is the filth meter.
Okay,
I'd like to thank you all
right.
for sticking around through the bitter end of this feud.
You think did we get them all?
I think that is all the fake toilet parts.
Yeah.
We
I think that was a complete
listed,
list.
Yeah, that is the complete. This segment title is "Complete List of Fake Toilet Parts."
Hey, we're not here to discuss the Doritos Locos Tacos from Taco Bell.
The chickens and the chickens.
Juniper.
Segment 2. Classic, ill-fated fast food ventures. The Burger King Kingdom.
Let's do it. I didn't
So this is my
read about
segment.
this at all. Let's do it.
I will be leading this segment
I'm going to put
unless
my
anybody
gun
feels
away.
strongly that they want to instead. That would be fine.
No, this is all you. I've been looking forward.
All right. Okay. So
Yeah,
so
I'm more comfortable if you do it.
I'm curious where you're heading with this.
So, ever since we started doing these classic ill-fated fast food ventures segments, people have been writing in, and they've been saying, when are you guys going to do the No, today we're going to be talking about the Burger King
Is there
Kingdom.
a McLobster?
There was, but it was ill-fated.
That is not the subject of this segment.
I'm sorry.
All right, so this is not going to be quite as formal as the McDLT discussion was.
You don't have any printouts?
Oh.
Right.
I don't have any discussion questions. I do have some notes.
Well, go ahead.
Okay,
so-
I'll just start. I have an opening statement.
Nice. Yes. Yes.
Which I will read. Which I will read now. The Burger King Kingdom.
Settled.
Good night, folks.
Wikipedia states that the Burger King Kingdom is a, quote, fantasy world associated with Burger King. This description seems transparently true, but whose fantasy is it? Why and how did it come into existence, and what became of it? Well, Bear Friend Tea Party is going to attempt to answer those questions and more during the course of this segment. Now, as is the norm with our classic ill-fated fast food ventures series, we're going to make every effort to remain neutral, to leave our preconceptions at the door, and to conduct an honest search, leaving no stone unturned in our effort to understand the topic before us. Now, I want to make especially clear here, gentlemen, that even the contention that the Burger King Kingdom was ill-fated, and those were scare quotes, just to make that clear.
I heard them.
Even that contention is itself open for debate. So there's nothing too controversial for discussion. Okay, what the Burger King Kingdom was.
A constructed fantasy realm ruled by an eponymous Burger King, populated with various food-inspired fictional characters who pay fealty to him. In reality, this fictional world was conjured as a concentrated marketing campaign both inspired by, and constructed as a direct response to, McDonald's own food-based continuity, McDonaldland.
What the Burger King Kingdom was not.
In any sense, a real corporeal or extant physical location or political entity.
I agree with that enough to continue the discussion. To me, one of the things that was interesting about the Burger King Kingdom was that, to an extent, unlike McDonaldland, the Burger King Kingdom in the commercials does seem to be set in the real world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's like basically our world, and all the laws of our world do seem to be honored, except that there is a magical king figure who likes magic and food that's fun, and like
that would be the Burger King.
Yeah, the Burger King.
Yeah, just to be clear.
In contrast to McDonaldland, which takes place sort of like on the set of like Barney.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Well, but I think more directly, I think what Jeremy's getting at is that Ronald McDonald doesn't have any overt magical powers, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it's unclear.
It's unclear.
I mean, I wouldn't. Let's not get into that.
I do think. I guess
this segment is not about McDonaldland.
The point I just wanted to bring up, because you're presenting this as one of your like basic premises, was that this was not a real realm, and like to me, like. To me, it's kind of. It does seem more grounded in reality than McDonaldland, which clearly takes place completely in a meta realm, like kind of a meta fantasy space. Whereas this is more like, I don't know exactly what the right word for it is, but it's definitely more like.
It's a version of the real world.
Yeah.
Just someplace you've never been before.
It's kind of like an alternate history.
Well, and yet, I would say that far too many of those commercials sort of end with the denouement of the
Going
characters
to Burger King.
going to Burger King.
Spending money on hamburgers.
Yeah. Well, but that's an interesting question. Are they really spending money, or are they free?
No, they're
Because the Burger King just makes them appear out of
He
thin
just
air.
produces
Wait,
them.
can we, John? Could you run us through some of the
Okay,
us through
sure.
some of the
Let me
characters?
give
I
you-
still
let
think
me
it's
give
kind
you
of
a
like a
rundown.
play place.
Okay.
With a ball
So
pit. Like,
okay, so these are the dramatis personae of the Burger King kingdom. Okay, so you've got the Burger King.
Right.
He is the reigning monarch of the
Yeah.
kingdom.
Well, let's come back to that because
We'll come back to that.
Some questions about
we will
that,
come back
about
to it
his
if you would let
status.
him move past
Now,
it, then we could come
we
back
don't
to
know
it.
his. We don't know his family name. There's no given name. I mean,
Burger.
his primary claim to the throne seems to be his beard and
his
being
crown.
able to
has a crown.
magically make burgers appear.
No, I've seen that meme. He definitely has a crown.
He can also turn burgers into French fries and vice versa.
Now, I've never seen him do that.
That seems.
I've
No,
seen
he
him.
definitely
I've seen
did
him
that.
That
turn a
almost
potato
seems
into
self-defeating.
French fries.
I mean, it's like, I can turn my money
It's like making
into
vodka
a
in
different
the gym.
kind of
I mean,
money.
what the fuck?
Yeah, it's
Honestly,
like,
it's a bit
shouldn't you be
bit
able
of
to
a
turn
Christ
like?
figure? Honestly,
Shouldn't you be able to turn like rocks into hamburgers or something?
Now, I was told that I should shut up and let John go through all the characters.
Yeah,
So we've got
and you're
so-
not following through on that.
And so then you have Sir Shake-a-Lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sir Shake-a-Lot is a knight who wears armor made of Burger King cups and
Minor
has a
character.
craving for milkshakes.
Sounds like a
I would
precursor
say
to.
see, that's interesting that you say he's a minor character, because I would say he's probably the most important character next to the Burger King.
He is the second one John mentioned, so that's how minor is that. It sounds like you're describing that character from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but
That's actually pretty
What is it?
close
Master
to
Shake? Is
What,
that
I
his
mean,
name?
I mean, he's depicted by an actual guy in a shake costume, but otherwise, that's basically
Wait,
right.
his armor is made out of one big foam cup or many
It's
big
one
cup?
big foam
Many
cup.
cups.
in case it was not clear, we are talking about a series of live-action commercials for Burger King.
A fast food restaurant. Yeah. It wouldn't. Okay, when did this happen?
70s and 80s.
70s and 80s?
70s.
Because I actually don't know this. I mean,
The most distinguishing characteristic of Sir Shake-a-Lot is that the character constantly shakes whenever he's on screen.
does he have Parkinson's disease?
See, it's
He
funny
does.
that you
He's
should
cold.
say that
He's cold.
because
Was he voiced by
that's-
Michael J. Fox? Is that what-
One of the first observations I wrote down when I was watching these commercials was that Sir Shake-a-Lot is. It seems like he's very offensive
Okay.
because he really looks like somebody making fun of somebody with Parkinson's.
Oh, see, that's very interesting because I assumed he was like a tweaker.
No,
Yeah, I
he's
guess
very
that's
cold.
another obvious place
He's
to go
cold
with it.
from drinking all the shakes.
He's got the shakes.
See, Chris, that's the in-universe explanation. For,
I am
for why
in the
he's
universe.
constantly-
Yeah, we're talking about the universe, I guess.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I live in the universe.
But I think if it were on today, I think people would probably complain because it's like
People complain about anything.
people
man.
complain about stuff. I don't know. I mean, and that was the first thing I thought of was like somebody with Parkinson's, and it's like it's pretty offensive from that
Yeah.
from that angle.
I
That's only
really
because you know what Parkinson's disease is.
I know. Well, you know, if I didn't know as much as I know, I wouldn't have such a problem in life.
True.
I didn't get that at all. I really thought drug-addled crazy person.
It's either way. It seems like questionable material for a children's fast food advertising campaign.
Nothing on Grimace.
Well, it's funny that you should bring up Grimace
It is hilarious.
because we're about to get to the
was
really
funny.
interesting characters.
The Burger King is actually fascinating, but go on.
Well, they're
so
all
far they're both
they're
fascinating.
all fascinating.
established.
Okay, but the next one I wanted to mention was the Burger Thing.
I like that.
The Burger Thing is a hybrid talking burger / living portrait.
Wait. So it's a talking burger. Is it 3-dimensional, or is it on a canvas?
It's on
like
it's on a framed canvas,
like a relief sculpture where it bulges out a little bit.
It's like if you took a giant like felt
bas relief
puppet burger and stuck it on like a framed painting with a canvas.
So it's a canvas with a burger shape sticking out from it.
It's
it's
the
sort
burger
of like
thing.
when Han Solo was frozen in carbonite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the carvings on the top of the Parthenon, but
I think
both would be
somewhere in between those two things.
Well, except talking.
Yeah, and a hamburger.
It talks and
Parthenon
it sells
talks.
burgers.
I did not find the burger thing that interesting, but
let me just run through these real quick. So finally completing out the roster. You've got, I think, probably the nemesis of the Burger King kingdom, which is the Duke of Doubt.
Right.
The Duke of Doubt is a naysayer of the Burger King's magic. And he's basically like the adversary.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Wizard of Fries, who is a robot.
That would have been my 87th guess.
A robot who is apparently both fueled by French fries and paradoxically also able to generate them endlessly.
Now I have a question.
There are so many questions. There's so many questions.
This is a
Go ahead.
My question about that is that canon? Like is that fan fiction? Because when I watched these commercials, I saw at most one appearance by the Wizard of Fries, and he was just chilling there in the rodeo commercial. I never heard any of this. Like no one ever mentioned.
No, it's the one right after the rodeo one. It's like I think they're using the Wizard of Fries to pitch baseballs or something.
Yeah, he was in the baseball commercial.
He's in the baseball one.
The one of like 12 different baseball.
Did they just make these up
as
they went along?
He was briefly in the rodeo one. I went back through looking for this asshole because the first time through, I didn't even see the fucking Wizard of Fries, and I'm like,
yeah, I didn't either.
He does sound like an
where
asshole.
where does this shit come from? This like idea that like this like kind of deep universe shit where like the Wizard of Fries is fueled by fries and can generate them. I didn't see that anywhere in the commercials. I saw like a brief shot of a weird fry robot popcorn maker thing.
Yeah,
occasionally.
I didn't.
So
I'll be honest, Jeremy. I didn't either, and I'm glad you brought that up because I saw it in the Wikipedia article.
Yeah,
on the Burger King kingdom, and then also in that. Also in that, the article that I linked in the...
Yeah, I saw it in that article, and I didn't see any citations there. And I'm wondering, was this backstory, like on like menus or like placemats or something at Burger King? Like, where does this shit come from? And can we like
placemats would probably be canon?
I don't know. I agree.
If it was on official Burger King placemats, then it's canon. Right. Fine, I accept it.
I mean, Burger King does not franchise. Am I right?
It would be great if it said on the placemats like
this is not an official.
The Wizard of Fries, both
dramatization
depends on and produces fries. It's paradoxical.
It's basically he eats his own shit.
The name of the article
where
was
it gets really
Dispatches
surreal.
from the Fast Food Wars of the 20th Century.
He eats his own shit to live.
By Matthew Newton, and that's on thoughtcatalog.com.
Doesn't he?
It's a reputable source.
He eats his own shit to
which
live.
is, I mean, if you want to go beyond Wikipedia, I mean, that's anyway. The that article has several advertisements on YouTube embedded within it, but the one specifically referencing the Wizard of Fries it appears to have been removed from YouTube.
You know what's great about that name, Wizard of Fries? It sounds like
it's hard to tell what it's a play on.
It sounds like a pun, but it's It does not pun with Wizard of Oz.
Right, because there's Wizard of Oz or Wizard of Lies.
No,
Or
it
what,
does.
like,
It's
Lord of the Flies?
Yeah,
They should have called him the Lord of the Fries.
It kind
That
of
would have been
sounds like
funny.
that.
Here's what
That
I'm
would've
gonna.
been funny.
Here's what I'm gonna say about the Wizard of Fries.
What are you gonna say?
Number one, it's weird that the Wizard of Fries is a robot. I think we can all agree. That's really weird that the Wizard of Fries is like a Lost in Space style robot that kind of looks like a popcorn maker with fries in it instead of popcorn.
Yeah.
That's
With you?
weird. Number two, there's very little else we can say about this character. He doesn't really appear much in the commercials. We have very little, what do you call it?
first-hand accounts. Yeah.
We have very little, like, first-hand evidence
All
of
we
this
have
character.
is anecdotal evidence of the
Yeah,
incident.
it's all. It's
So, like,
almost entirely anecdotal.
I think we should move on. I think we should talk about some of the characters we have more, like,
think-
actual information about.
Are
But
there more than 5 characters?
I think the
Agreed.
Wizard. Okay, we do know the Wizard of Fries exists because we've seen him in that baseball commercial. He's there for like
No
a
one's
second.
no one's disputing
Right.
that.
No one's disputing
he
the
was
Wizard of
there,
Fries.
but
as
like,
much as
I
any
think
of them
the internet
exist.
made
all we
if,
get,
if the background
I
lore
would
of the
say,
Wizard of Fries
I
is accurate,
I don't think
that
he's
the Wizard
even
of Fries
referred
opens up
to
some
by
very,
name in the commercials as
very
the Wizard of
difficult
Fries.
questions as to the nature of the universe.
Are any of
of
them
the Burger
referenced by
King
name in the
kingdom. I mean, I think
commercials?
like
The Duke of
metaphysical
Doubt
questions.
is
The Duke of Doubt is.
let me
Well, that's
see
the
here.
name of the
Shake a lot.
company.
So, I mean, that's
Shake
like
a lot,
help.
but
Like
being
it's really
children.
unfortunate that we like couldn't find any more footage of the Wizard
John-
of Fries
John,
in action.
on that point,
It's just
I-
why
I
are we
would say-
focusing on the Wizard
I
of
would
Fries,
say-
the one character we know nothing about? What are you trying to hide by derailing us talking about the Wizard of Fries?
who do you work for?
Look,
John,
we
can
may
we,
never we may never fully understand the Wizard of Fries from today's vantage point. I think maybe it might not even be possible for us to understand.
Like- may be lost to time.
How weird is it, like, if I was going to make a robot that was a wizard...
Didn't you want to
wouldn't you
move
at
on?
least- why don't you at least put a wizard hat on it? Like, give it some affectation of being a wizard. It just looks like a fucking popcorn maker that's sitting there on a horse.
John,
They did not want to revert
Yes.
to cliche for this. This was all new.
well, can we talk about the Burger King himself a little bit, John?
Please.
Because you and I had an exchange on Twitter where my initial response...
Did you really?
Yes.
I like
Yeah,
how,
we're
I
just
like
on
how
Twitter.
that's funny.
My initial
It's like
response...
totally normal.
You're just jealous.
I am.
did. My initial response to the Burger King kingdom was highly negative, and I'm starting to come around. But like my first admittedly kind of smart-ass remark was that the name seemed really redundant. They should just call it the Burger Kingdom.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
But
I remember you saying
is
that.
It has one syllable
because the
twice.
more the more I think about it, it's not the Burger Kingdom. It's not like a kingdom and this guy happens to be the king. It genuinely is the Burger King kingdom. The whole world revolves around the Burger King.
Very well put.
Thank you.
That's also the name
mean-
of the restaurant.
It is the name of the.
That's
and
also
the
true.
company.
Yeah, yeah.
Company.
I mean, but they could have called it. They could have called it the Burger Kingdom.
But yeah, the in-kingdom explanation would be that...
Yeah, within the continuity of the Burger King kingdom.
Think about the role of the Burger King within that kingdom. Like, you never see him acting in the political role of a king. He's never judging things or making laws or fighting wars or conducting diplomacy.
Chris,
All
they're
he
short
does-
commercials.
He doesn't act. They seem interminable.
Presumably
He doesn't
there's a
act
commercial
as a
where
king.
he dubs,
all he does
Sir
is
Shake-a-Lot
perform
as a knight.
magic.
He does magic.
Yeah.
He does
Yeah.
magic. He's not,
Which
a-
is bizarre. Like, 'cause
Bullshit,
that's not the
man.
defining
He's not
feature.
what? He's not what? Let him finish. I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm gonna let you.
Whoa, baby, I love. Sorry.
Danny, could you stop hitting things on the table, by the way? That's really fucking annoying.
There are. I mean, I'm
I
sure
was
you're.
kind of into it.
I'm sure you're familiar with Max Weber's three kinds of legitimate authority, right?
Go on.
Right.
There's the legal, rational, there's the traditional, and there's the charismatic. And I assumed at first that the Burger King would be an incarnation of the traditional authority figure, because that's what a king is. Like that's the stereotypical version of traditional authority. He's fulfilling a role as his ancestors did before him. He's the king because his dad was king. Bullshit. He is the charismatic authority. He's the Burger King because of the magic he produces.
Yeah, totally agree.
I agree. Like, his
Totally
authority
agree.
definitely comes from his magic, even though his magic is kind of gay.
It's the only thing he did. Oh, it's totally gay.
That seems like it seems like you're going in a different direction with that call.
Well, yeah, he's never talking about his storied lineage or anything. He's always just talking about...
He's not really a political figure.
Look,
He's
I can
like
make a hamburger appear out of, like a bag that had a hamburger
He's a prophet.
in it.
He's not really a king at all. He's a prophet.
The magic is so... It's so, blasé
Bullshit.
and pathetic. It's so bullshit.
His magic is really bullshit.
It's incredibly bullshit. And
It's
that's why...
It's like children's birthday party horse shit magic. It's like not even...
It's bullshit even for magic.
That's being generous, I think.
Yeah, I have had some great birthdays.
I think we should probably go into a little more detail about the Duke of Doubt.
Go for it.
Yeah. Agree.
Go for it.
Yeah, the Duke of Doubt is so essentially his role in the commercials is like whenever anybody says anything, pretty much, the Duke of Doubt pops out and he says, "I doubt it."
True.
And he's supposed to be like the nemesis of the Burger King.
How does that that work?
Well, so the Burger King. So okay,
He's
so
like a
in this
Richard
commercial,
Dawkins figure.
No, okay,
in this
no, fuck all that. I don't
it's
mean
really
like
more like
in
Daniel
universe.
Dennett,
I mean
but,
like, hey, I want to advertise Burger King. Burger King makes burgers. Great. His nemesis has nothing to do with... It doesn't make any sense. That's why the shit failed. It's because in McDonald land, you got a hamburger mayor, you got French fry kids.
You're jumping the gun.
But
you're jumping the gun.
I am. You're right. I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's just... I just want to make sure we're on the same page with the Duke of Doubt.
I really
so the Duke of Doubt, he kind of looks like Cyrano de Bergerac.
Cyrano.
Yeah, agree.
Cyrano.
Agree.
Right. He's got like a really long nose and that like frilly collar, stupid dumb fuck collar.
Yeah, he
He's
seems
like
like
the
Gerard
he's
Depardieu.
a total piece of shit.
The actor who
Yes.
portrays
He is.
him is wearing a mask. He's like the only one of the main
Yes.
characters who's masked. The Burger King
Yeah,
isn't masked.
well, the
Sir
burger
Shake-a-Lot isn't
thing,
masked.
the Burger Thing is wearing.
Well,
a mask.
Burger Thing
Wizard
is not
the
even
Wizard of Fries is...
Neither of those are masks. They're just things.
3/5 of them are
They're
wearing
just
masks.
objects.
There are only
They kinda-
5 people in the Burger King kingdom.
Okay, but so
There's
the
a lot of
the
children.
standard format of each commercial
Yeah, Fry Guys.
is like the Burger King comes around and he's like, "Oh, look, I can make some like fucking burgers and shit up here," and then the Duke of Doubt pops out and he's like, "I doubt it."
Yeah, true.
And
that
but then
stupid piece of
he
shit.
He gets his comeuppance in every episode.
That is
Yep.
really dumb.
Basically.
I'm sorry to go off on a tangent a minute ago. but that is just so dumb.
It's really
You're right.
demands
It is really
to be
dumb.
commented on because it's
Yeah.
it's
That's
terrible.
actually I
It's
have
like-
that in my notes. Actually,
It's
that
really
these
bad.
commercials are really dumb.
But it has nothing
Yeah.
to do with fast food. It's like not even tangentially
Well, no,
related.
because then at the
Yeah.
end they go to Burger King.
Well, no.
Right,
I mean,
'cause
that
that is-
character.
that- Yeah.
Even though that seems completely unnecessary, since they have a wizard who can just make burgers out of thin air.
No,
Right,
no.
and a
The
fry
wizard
person that can
Well, the
make
Wizard of Fries
shit
only
fries
makes
and eat them to
fries.
live.
The Wizard of Fries makes fries.
Yeah.
The Burger King
Also,
He
makes
sometimes
burgers.
makes fries.
The-
He
all
makes
the burger-
shakes.
the
He makes
burger-
everything.
It's
burger-
unclear. It's unclear the extent of his powers because in the jingle, it specifically states
What does it state? Play the jingle now.
No, don't play it.
It says he can
do
here's the
most
magical
anything.
Burger King. He can do most anything.
He spins a web.
So it does seem
and
like
he-
there are some natural limits to his power. It's just not. It's never explored. Precisely where those limits.
It was important.
lie.
It was important to the writers that it not be like just self-contradictory on the face of it. I guess.
Right.
He couldn't reverse time.
He can do anything that's logically
You
possible.
can't make a burger so big that even he cannot eat it.
John, I think it is important to double
Take
down
that,
on the point
ontological
Danny
argument.
made which is that these commercials are really dumb.
They're very, very dumb.
Watching
No, I believe
that
we
video
covered
Double Down
is maybe the most I have
not
suffered
Burger
for this
I think
podcast
the most
since I listened to
the most
the
offensive
DJ.
aspect to me.
I literally
No, wait, hold on. You guys, can we get a clean, can we get a clean read of that? Because Chris just made a good thing.
All right, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I mean,
Oh, fuck
it's
off. Come on.
watching that video was like the most painful thing I've done for this podcast since listening to He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper.
Ooh.
That's okay,
Great
but this
segment.
was much
Apologies
shorter.
to Will Smith.
It was much shorter.
a frequent commenter on the Beer Friend Tea Party, whatever. $20. Anybody?
So do you guys feel like... Okay, so here's a discussion question. Do you
Okay.
guys feel like the Duke of Doubt is a stylistic counterpart to the Hamburglar?
That's interesting.
I would say that stylistically, yes, they have a similar look. They seem to, at least on some very superficial level, serve the same role, just as like the anti-hero of the kingdom who is not really ultimately very threatening and who is always kind of humorously thwarted. But the Hamburglar is trying to steal the hamburgers, whereas the Duke of Doubt
It's unclear.
is just it's not.
He just
yeah,
doubts
he's just kind
everything.
of complaining, and it's really not clear why he continues to doubt.
No, because it's like right in front of his eyes. It's like the Burger King
he's
is
just
like
an
doing all
idiot,
this
right?
fucking magic and stuff, and the Duke of Doubt is like, I doubt it, like no matter what.
There's an important distinction, and that's that within McDonaldland, the Hamburglar is an agent of chaos, whereas the Duke
Kind of
of
a
Doubt,
Kantian agent.
the Duke of in the Burger King kingdom, it's almost the Burger King himself who creates disorder and chaos everywhere he goes. But the Duke of Doubt is like an agent of order. He's trying to
He's a skeptic.
create order to the world. Yeah, he doesn't believe in magic and insanity.
Right.
He's
He
like
is a
he's trying to
shallow
nail shit.
caricature
He's
of
trying to nail
skepticism.
stuff down. Yeah, I
Well,
mean
better
he is.
than a
But
shallow caricaturism of whatever.
I'm just saying
hamburgers.
he's an agent. He's an agent of order. Like within that world,
That would be the Burger thing.
the Burger King himself. The Burger King himself is like Loki.
Like what?
You know what I'm
the
saying?
Burger King is
Loki?
like
Burger King himself is like Loki. He's the agent of chaos.
Is that the cloud
within
that throws
world.
the spinies onto Mario?
Well, Danny, we're trying to have a
No,
serious
Danny, you're thinking of
conversation
Lakitu.
about- We're trying to have a
What is it?
serious
No,
conversation
that's why I was.
about
That's
these.
why I was weirded out that you would bring up
Lakitu.
Lakitu,
Oh,
but you
Lakitu.
didn't. So let's move on.
Let's move on.
You know, I
Okay,
did a little.
so-
I did actually do some research, John.
Yeah.
When they were originally putting the series together, there was a trio of dukes. There was the Duke of Doubt,
Whoa,
the Duke of Diarrhea,
there was not.
and the Duke of Diabetes.
This is fan fiction.
No.
That's,
Yeah, the Duke of Diarrhea.
There was no
would,
Duke
you know,
of
he
Diarrhea.
would eat a lot of.
This is all
Burger
going to be
King
stricken from
food.
the podcast.
I would have said the Duke
then-
of Dicks, but
His
Let him
his
finish his joke.
His catchphrase was going to be "Uh-oh."
and what
And then
about
the Duke of
other
Diabetes? He tragically died shortly before filming began.
so
What was that?
Okay.
I
Lung
think
cancer.
you made
It was a
No,
heavy
no,
smoker.
you make an interesting point when you talk about when you're talking about the Duke of Doubt, and the Duke of Doubt in the commercials is portrayed. I mean, I think you're definitely supposed to read him as kind of the nemesis because he doubts the
He's
Burger
more than a
King's
nemesis.
magic.
He is a buffoon.
Yeah, and yet at the same time,
He's constantly getting, like hoist to his own petard and shit.
at the same time, like everything, all of the so-called magic, all of the so-called magic that the Burger King does is so bullshit that, like, watching it, you can't help but,
How bullshit is it?
can we not reference that fucking podcast? I'm so over that.
Nice.
Which podcast
I'm
is
glad
that?
What
that
podcast is that?
They're talking about, he's referencing the Scathing Atheist.
I'm just happy that I was fishing for John, but I got Jeremy, and I'm happy with that.
I don't remember that.
Stop listening to that.
Maybe we
ago.
should put 30 seconds on the clock.
Jumanji. All right, go ahead.
All right.
Before
I give Act 3 the hard sell.
They're referencing like references that I don't even get on the podcast
We're
that they're
referencing
on.
a podcast referencing a different.
You know, Jeremy, it's interesting when you think about the Duke of Doubt. Within the world, he's always wrong. And he's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's so frustrating about it.
Yes, he's
Is
frustratingly
he, though?
wrong because
Well,
he
I mean,
sees...
that's my question.
He
Like,
sees...
No.
He
He
sees
said,
this stuff
let
happening.
him- yeah.
In universe, he sees this stuff happening and he's still like, oh, I doubt it, even though it's obviously happening. But outside
you
of
can-
the
like, you
universe,
can see the wires and
he's
shit.
correct.
Exactly.
Because all that magic is fake.
but I
'Cause
mean,
he's a
most
caricature.
Most of the magic that
Like, he's
the
not-
Burger
he's not a
King
serious
does,
character.
most of the magic that the Burger King does, if you saw someone do that in real life, you would be like, oh, that's just some dumb parlor trick. Like, oh, like I made a burger appear. Like, you know, that's some pretty amateurish magician shit.
Did you guys watch the disco one?
The disco
Yeah, we
one is
watched
one
all
of,
Where the
one of
the
my
Duke
one
of
of
Doubt
my
ends
favorite.
up the Duke of Doubt ends up trapped in a jukebox at the end,
I gotta watch these.
and he's spinning around on the turntable.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Is-
Well, no, he's
wait, is the
skipping at
jukebox
first. He's like,
playing him.
Yeah.
yeah,
It
he's
is?
skipping. He's like, yeah, that was a good moment.
Wait, so he's talking, although the needle is causing him to skip. It doesn't make any sense.
It does because this is a fantasy world.
yeah,
my bad.
I think that is one
You
of
forgot
the,
about magic.
I think that's the key element of this continuity.
Do you
is
think
it,
that-
you know it's
Do you think
Go
that
ahead.
the Duke of Doubt is necessary for the Burger King to exist?
I mean, I can see that.
I don't.
Seems like
I think that's what they.
seems
I
like
think
the
that's what. I think
dumbass
that's what they're
ad
they're
executives
trying to set that up.
thought that
but
was
it
the
didn't-
case.
didn't-
What
But I
is-
mean, it's like, couldn't you have McDonald Land without the Hamburglar?
Yes.
yeah. You could
Yeah,
have
it's like-
you'd have
it's just
Birdie
like-
and the
it's
Fry
just
Guy.
Barney.
I guess all
It's
you-
just
all you
the
would
show
need is
Barney because there's a
Grimace.
bunch of bullshit and they're all happy.
But it's true. Like, what
you're
is
gonna eat
like what is the
I will give you hamburgers. You will give me money.
What is the point they're trying to make with the Duke of Doubt? Like, the point of the Hamburglar is that these hamburgers are so good that he like wants them
Yeah.
and he has to steal them.
He's like the Trix Rabbit, or the
Well-
Lucky Charms.
The key difference between the
Leprechaun.
Trix Rabbit and the Hamburglar is that
It's gonna be
the,
good.
the Trix Rabbit frequently seems to
Podcast title.
he legitimately obtains tricks sometimes, and then the children take it away from him. The Hamburglar is always trying to steal the hamburgers, so he doesn't really have. I mean, he's not in the right.
You
Whereas
don't.
I
Maybe
always
we don't
feel,
know the whole story. We don't
I
know that
feel
they were
bad for the
rightfully
Trix
his.
Rabbit.
No,
I
we
never
don't
feel
know-
bad for the hamburger. He
don't-
look at he's
you could
wearing
say-
that.
okay, you
There's
say we
not
don't know
hardly
the whole
just got out
story.
of prison.
You could
He's
say that
wearing
about any of
black
these
and white
backstories.
Not enough
stripes.
information
He's
to
wearing
answer. No, it's fine.
black and white stripes.
clearly
like
a
a
criminal.
criminal.
You try to turn your life around as an ex-con
Exactly.
in this world.
Exactly.
Jeremy.
He's not an ex-con.
Say, oh well, you
He's-
can you succeed as long as you try. Like you make what you want. You know, that's
He's
bullshit.
not an ex-con. If anything,
You,
he's
you
an
tell that to the
escaped
Beagle
convict.
Boys. You think the Beagle
The
Boys
Beagle
could just go get
Boys-
a job? Like you think like
Not dressed like that.
no?
I'm just saying, if
Not
you're
with that
walking
tattoo
around
on their forehead,
in
is that what you-
like prison garb, you obviously didn't like you. That suggests to me that you have just escaped from prison illegitimately. Escaped from
Obviously,
prison. It doesn't mean like you served your time and they let you out and they were like,
No.
you know what,
You're
keep
not-
the outfit. Keep the outfit.
You're not going to go to a job interview
looks so
holding
good on you.
a giant sack with a dollar sign on it. That's obvious. But
You know,
no.
Point being,
when you think about it, like the Hamburglar would be totally pointless in the Burger King kingdom because this guy's just magically making hamburgers all the time.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, it
true.
really
They,
kind of-
they seem to be
kind of
priceless
fucks with the economy.
without-
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas Ronald McDonald has no clear purpose whatsoever.
Well,
Does Ronald
is Ronald McDonald
run
like in charge
McDonald
of
Land,
the?
or does Mayor
Yeah.
McCheese run McDonald
Exactly.
Land?
Well, he's the mayor.
I think,
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he would.
I think Mayor McCheese is kind of like a crony of Ronald
No, he's
McDonald.
not a-
Ronald McDonald is
Ronald
kind of like
McDonald works for Mayor McCheese.
it's kind of like if you've ever watched Boardwalk Empire, like
Or Goodfellas.
Nucky Thompson is really running the show, but then he has some like random mayor who like changes periodically and is just like doing his bidding.
I don't know that reference.
But your point stands.
It was
I don't
clear,
know.
Point stands.
Could you rearrange that as a reference to Con Air?
Yes.
In the
Yes,
movie
yes, you could.
Con Air.
Thank you. I love that movie.
So, okay, in the
We're only referencing Steve Buscemi movies on this podcast.
No, I'm
now,
sorry,
right?
it
I
cannot
wouldn't call
be
that
done.
a Steve Buscemi movie.
Boardwalk Empire wasn't a movie.
I mean, that's maybe like a...
Whatever.
It's
Shows.
a Nicolas Cage movie.
I'm
Shows.
sorry,
It's a-
the movie
it's a
Con
John
Air
Malkovich
has
movie.
nothing to do
And a
with
John
McDonald's.
Cusack movie, but I wouldn't call it... Would you call it a who's the guy that plays cue ball?
Cole Meany?
Not Cole.
Are you thinking of
I
Cole
maybe would
Meany?
call it
The
a Cole
movie,
Meany
at this
movie.
point, like the movie Con Air is a distraction
Meany
from a
is
distraction
fucking
from
great.
a distraction at this point.
It's really the name of a
Okay.
hairdryer.
So, all right. So, getting back on topic. Okay, since everybody read that article on thoughtcatalog.com, you may have noticed that
Dave Chappelle.
You know,
Your
a
Friend
lot
Tea
of,
Party
a lot
is
of
sponsored by
Dave Chappelle.
thoughtcatalog.com.
He lights himself on fire. But I wouldn't call it a Dave Chappelle movie.
you guys done?
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of the literature that's been written on the Burger King kingdom kind of refers to it as kind of as like a darker, like edgier version of McDonald Land. And
Does it?
I just was kind of wondering what you guys thought about that. I'm not sure that I agree with that premise.
A lot of it? I mean, is there a large enough sample size to...
I actually pasted in a direct quote, which I think supports the point you're making, John. Led by the Burger King, the kingdom was far more subversive in nature. This is comparing it to McDonald Land. Far more subversive in nature, populated by a band of fringe characters, such as the Burger Thing, the Duke of Doubt, the Wizard of Fries, and Sir Shakes-a-Lot. Yeah, I also found that really odd that someone would characterize it as subversive in any way, shape, or form.
Or that comparing anything to McDonald Land means anything.
I think I would agree that it's like it's definitely weirder than McDonald Land.
But that's clearly what they were going for.
Is it?
Yes. I think the fact that... here's what speaks volumes, is that every single...
Is it
fuck is
weirder
it?
than
I mean,
McDonald Land?
yeah, what the
really?
fuck is Grimace?
We've grown accustomed to McDonald
What the
Land
fuck is
because
Grimace?
It's
My
been around
point
so long.
was
But yeah,
that
like
every
Grimace,
single...
the Fry
like,
Guys are very
everybody
strange.
Here,
Fry Guys are
everybody
quite
here, everybody in
odd.
any article we've referenced, everybody in has... It's like, it is always comparing it to McDonald Land. And that is, I mean...
It's sort of like the Sega Genesis.
Right.
You know, to go back to that metaphor,
Oh,
which we always seem to get into.
It's metaphor.
You know,
Danny,
it's
the Sega Genesis to
the
McDonald
Whopper has
Land.
blast processing. You know,
So you're saying John, you're saying that the Burger King kingdom will do what McDonald don't?
Yeah.
Danny,
I believe that's
I was
exactly
looking
what I'm
for-
saying.
I was looking for that.
Because McDonald's
Took me a while.
McDonald's
No, but
has always
it-
been
it's a shadow.
the Coca-Cola of the industry.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly.
It's always
Thank
been
you.
like the
It's-
top
it's
dog.
the shadow, and they
You
were-
know,
they were-
so
had to compete with
in
it
the
on
other
its
companies
own-
like
in its own
that,
playing
the
field,
same
yeah.
thing.
I'm not sure
it's
that
going
I
to necessarily
really...
be like
No?
the young, upstart, company that's like nipping at the heels.
No, I wouldn't
of
say
McDonald's,
upstart.
you know?
I would say like desperate second place. Like, we're gonna put out a clear cola too. You're right. It's like Pepsi. It's like Sega.
Yeah,
It's like the Slate political gab fest.
I'm gonna say okay, so you don't talk anymore. Yeah.
That's our
like-
rival
no,
podcast, Danny.
it's like it's more like
were-
it's more like the weeds.
I thought we'd.
So here's what I think. I think if you take into account the fact that the two most surreal, most bizarre kind of out there characters, namely the Burger Thing and the Wizard of Fries, are by far the least well documented of the universe. I think
Wait.
that our picture of the universe is very incomplete. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's probably by design.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it might... Is our picture incomplete, or is the universe poorly designed and not really fleshed out? I would question whether this universe ever really had any coherent ness in the first place.
Was it intended to?
Yeah, maybe it was just a bullshit commercial series.
It seems like it was pretty bullshit.
I mean, it was
know if that
a
makes it
clear
bullshit.
rival to McDonaldland.
Which is also pretty bullshit.
Right, and it had to outdo that bullshit with a way wider umbrella of horseshit. Honestly, horseshit bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so maybe this is getting into the initial question of whether or not the Burger King Kingdom was in fact an ill-fated venture.
It was.
I mean,
Okay.
it definitely sucked.
Let's.
Yeah.
I think
Different
let's. I'd like to hear everybody's thoughts on this question. Danny.
When you said Burger King Kingdom, I thought of a playplex with a ball pit and the tubes to crawl through that kids play in while their parents are ordering hamburgers. It sounded like a playground. So no, my point is I had never even heard, not that I didn't know what it was, I'd never even heard the words before. Whereas to harken back to one of our classic examples of this segment, the McDLT episode of this segment.
Classic segment.
I mean, I had heard of a McDLT. So, I mean, how long did the commercials for the Burger King Kingdom run?
Let's see. I think I do have that in my notes. Mid 70s to late 80s.
What, 15 years?
So over 10 years.
That's a long time.
All right. But that,
Yeah, although I think in that time I think it sort of morphed a little bit, and I think probably by the late 80s I think they sort of dropped most of the other characters, and I think it was more just about the Burger King.
It was just a bunch of D-list celebrities
And
singing about
I don't know if you
hamburgers.
guys know this, but the Burger King himself was advertised in some of those commercials as like being a guy that was going to like appear at specific
I
Burger
saw
King
that.
locations.
That
in
was really
costume.
creepy. John, I would say that to answer your question, to take this question next, was this an
Jeremy,
ill-fated...
I'd like to hear from you next.
I think so.
Well, John, yeah, to...
Was the Burger King Kingdom an ill-fated
My answer is yes.
venture?
Jeremy?
I would say, conceptually, the Burger King Kingdom is a mess. I mean, it makes no fucking sense. It's really gay.
It's like 1995.
It's some stupid shit.
Okay.
It has low production values. I don't really understand the motivations of any of the characters. I don't know what this fucking robot wizard is doing. In that sense, yes, like it has not survived. It's a failure on that level. It's not a success in the way that McDonald's Land is. It's kind of a joke. On the other hand, if you just look at this as like this is a 10 to 15 year marketing campaign. Did this get some kids in there, sell some fucking hamburgers? I don't know. Maybe it did. It probably did, or else they wouldn't have kept doing this fucking bullshit campaign. So in that sense, maybe it served their purposes. Maybe it took a little of the wind out of the sails of McDonald's Land in the late 70s and early 80s. And in that case,
To the extent that it still exists today.
yeah. So, well, sure, but
So,
yes,
your answer is yes.
I'm gonna say yes. It was ill-fated.
All right, great. Those are some really well thought out remarks, Jeremy. I think Chris, we haven't heard from you yet.
Was it ill-fated?
Was it an ill-fated venture?
If you put the Burger King kingdom through a Brita, would McDonaldland come out? No. It's nothing but crap would come out. It's it was complete garbage, and watching it, at first I was just bored, but the more I watched it, the sadder I became. I think it's suffused with a sense of melancholy and purposelessness, and it reminds you of
Danny,
your
stop
own
fiddling with
mortality
that cheese
and the
grater.
meaninglessness of life. It was not only was it ill-fated by association, it makes the people who watch it become ill-fated as well.
Damn, dog.
That seems, in essence, to be what you say about a lot of things. I think that was basically what
so.
you said about he's the DJ, I'm the
Sounds
doctor.
like a prepared remark.
But was I?
Yeah,
wait,
that's,
did you?
that's what you said about Richard Dreyfuss.
Right.
Jeremy, did you just call that album "He's the DJ, I'm the Doctor"? Because that would have been a much better album.
Add that to the database
awesome.
right
No,
now.
but then it wouldn't have had any
He's the
rapping.
DJ.
One of them's
I'm
just
the doctor.
operating.
He's the DJ.
Well,
I'm the rapping doctor.
Well, according to your chart.
So the question before the group was the Burger King kingdom, and this is in scare quotes now, an ill-fated venture? End scare quotes, question mark. All right,
No,
look,
the question mark is
I think that this is a question that I think everybody really needs to answer for themselves. I think in one sense, I think that the gimmick of the Burger King kingdom seems kind of hokey, perhaps even cringeworthy by today's standards, maybe even bordering on shameful in certain respects, like the Parkinson's afflicted Sir Shake-a-Lot. I think though, in another sense, it's remarkable. According to Wikipedia, the Burger King kingdom lasted well over a decade, from the mid-'70s to the late '80s, which, when you think about it, is actually pretty impressive, in such a cutthroat industry. So I think while it may have technically, died out, which is to say met a bad fate, in scare quotes, I think you could argue that it was a resounding success, given the original goal with which it was conceived, and then the subsequent longevity that it saw. So the ultimate answer is I don't fucking know.
Concur.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, the ultimate goal was to sell some hamburgers, which they've been doing.
They are still in business.
Burger King.
And I do believe they still use the Burger King in some
Some internet memes. So it's true. I hadn't thought
whatever.
about it.
I do have a lot more to say about this, but we can move on if people. We can end this if people would rather.
Well, I would rather.
No, what do you have?
There's one thing that jumped out at me, and this is not really a really deep point. I did find it very interesting that in some of these commercials from the 1970s, apparently, Burger King was using the slogan "If you believe in magic." Which
Wasn't that a song?
Well, the McDonald's in, I believe, the 90s used the slogan, "Do you believe in magic?" So I found that kind of fucked up.
Isn't that that's some song, right?
That's a song. Yeah, do you believe
Is
in
it
magic?
Queen?
Isn't that? No,
I
it's
don't
like
fucking
fucking
know.
The Lovin' Spoonful or some shit.
Whatever.
The thing that... Well, but they definitely, McDonald's made a big deal of that. Ronald McDonald would come out and they would say, "Do you believe in magic?"
That's the song I'm thinking.
No, there was the song.
Yeah, that
Do you
is the
believe?
song.
You're telling me
in
that's
magic?
You're telling me that's a Queen song. You're saying there was a Queen song that said, "You'll always have a friend wearing big red shoes." That was a Queen song? No, that was a McDonald's jingle.
Dairy Queen, I mean.
Huh.
Not...
I just think it's weird that they had slogans that were the same except for two letters. I think that was weird.
I'm sorry. What was the Burger King slogan?
If you
friend wearing big red shoes.
If you believe in magic, you'll always have a friend wearing big red shoes. Yes, it's fucking stupid.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
that was before my time.
It was no, it was not. It was a well-known thing. They were rocking that "Do you believe in magic" shit for a number of years.
No,
it's just the shoes. Yeah.
Would you say that they misused the shoes?
Are you thinking of "I'm Loving It"? Because that was later.
I'm not thinking of "I'm Loving It."
How about "It's a Good Time for the Great Taste of McDonald's"?
Oh, McDonald's!
Or "Good Time, Great Taste."
Nice
That's a
pitch
great
memory.
commercial.
That's why
Did I imagine that?
You
You're
did.
saying
Maybe
that?
you're thinking of Good Time classic hits.
The other just quick point I would make is
I'm talking quarter pound of beef on the hot side. and the hot
stays hot. So, the thing that is really
Flagged is
sad
off
to me
topic.
is these commercials are obviously really, really shitty.
Very
But
corporate.
They really are.
they're terrible. They're like just this low production values. They're like just a fucking mess. They're like 30 seconds to a minute long, and they can't even like maintain a coherent like plot for that. It's like they're like, oh, something's happening now. There's like something. It's like fucking ridiculous. But what's sad about that is Burger King did actually have some really good commercials, and I would highly recommend. This came up like in the suggested videos on YouTube. There's a really good collection of Burger King commercials under the name Burger King History 1. I don't recommend Burger King History 2, 3, and 4 because it definitely went downhill. But some of their advertisements, which I think must have been in the same era, were really excellent. There's like a lot of them are for the Whopper.
The what?
The Whopper.
The Whopper with blast processing.
Is that anyway?
But they're like, they're like funny and they're coherent. It's like there's one where like there's like these two cops come into Burger King, and there's like the big cop and the little cop, or at least like the big detective and the little detective's like ooh, I want to get a Whopper, and the big cop's like, no, you can't get a Whopper.
Hey, Lieutenant, can I have a Whopper? Hey, Lieutenant, a Whopper? Oh, Eddie, and stop pestering.
Yes, sir. May I help you?
Well, I'll have a Whopper, some fries, and a strawberry shake. And my friend here will have a Whopper. No, Eddie, a regular burger or a cheeseburger or anything else you want, but no Whopper.
And the little cop's like, why? I want a Whopper. And then the big cop's like, no, you can get any of the regular hamburgers, but you can't get a Whopper. And then he's like, ah. And then they get up to the counter, and then the little cop's like, I'll have a cheeseburger. And then the big cop's like, I'll have a Whopper. And the little cop's like, ah. And then they go and they sit down, and the little cop's like, why do you get to order a Whopper and I can't? And then the big cop says, because you need 2 hands to eat a Whopper.
You see, Eddie, it takes 2 hands to handle a Whopper.
And then he like lifts up his big hamburger.
And the little cop only has 1 hand.
That's what I'm calling with that.
No, the little
Does he
cop.
have a hook for a hand? Or he's just holding his milkshake in the other hand?
It's actually somewhat enigmatic. The little cop is handcuffed to the big cop, so it seems like the punchline may be actually that the little cop is actually like a criminal, but they went to Burger King. It's well done.
That is
You should
funny.
definitely check it out.
That's like
It's-
open-ended.
Sound well done.
That sounds,
No.
It sounds great.
No, it's
Wait,
really good.
So they mispronounce Whopper in the commercial?
I'm just enunciating so that it's clear over.
I guess it was a product of its time. And it said a lot of shit wrong in those days.
The point I'm trying to make. Fuck it.
Yeah, what is...
Good night, everybody.
What's the point you're trying to make?
Do you think... Here's
Okay, check this out. Did you know that Burger King once had a slogan that was beats the stuffin' out of Egg McMuffin?
That's a pretty good slogan.
Okay. The only other point I wanted to make is that I thought that the Burger King Kingdom commercials made a good use of slide whistles.
For instance...
I think we all agree with
For
that.
instance...
And liberal use of slide whistles.
As liberal as this? Do you think that it's possible that we are all living in the Burger King kingdom?
No.
No.
It seems unlikely.
No, but think about it.
Absurd on its face.
If technology has gotten to the point where we could
because our music is
create
better.
a Burger King kingdom, then it's probably statistically more likely that we are living in a simulation.
The simulation argument. The simulated Burger King kingdom argument.
I didn't
you see where I'm going a mile away.
I didn't see anything in the Burger King kingdom that I haven't seen in the real world. Like, if you're saying, like, do we live in a universe where, like, there are shitty magicians and you can purchase hamburgers, then, like,
No,
yes.
but can you shit French fries and eat them as food?
I never saw that. I don't think that's canon.
You've been listening to Bear Friend Tea Party, or some shit.
You've been listening to Bear Friend Tea Party, a podcast that is available at bearfriendteaparty.com, or its real URL.
You're listening to Bear Friend Tea Party. To download further list episodes of Bear Friend Tea Party,
Further listening.
Really bad. You've been listening.
Listen more Bear Friend Tea Party?
you can
Bear
find
Friend Tea Party podcast.
Listen, friend T.
Flowersofdisgust.com.
Listen more flowers
More
of podcast discuss.
podcasts.
For
Listen
more Bear
to podcast.biz.
More podcasts.
Damn it.
Subscribe iTunes.
Flowersofdisgust.coffee.
Review good iTunes podcast of choice.
For more Bear Friend Tea Party, just do whatever it was you did to get this one,
Yes.
but with a different episode
Seriously,
number.
get on a horse, gallop away, and then tell one more podcast.
And then review our podcast for a change, asshole.
Patreon donors will
I
get
believe the first person to write in gets $20.
20 large,
That's,
everyone.
American dollar.
Looking at you, Drewbies.
American dollars. That's one Tubman.
First person to write in, looking at you, Drewbies, gets 20 large.
First real person
First
that
real
is not
person.
one of us.
What do
Sorry,
they have
occult
to-
mummy. They're out of the running.
Did they have to write a physical letter, or will an email?
No, they could
do it?
literally send a period. They could send
just an
any.
email.
They could send any
No, they-
diacritic. They could
don't send us your
They
period.
have to ask
That's
for
gross.
$20 if they want $20.
No, but okay, they could send just
no, you're right.
a
We
dollar
removed
sign.
that stipulation. You're right. We
No,
removed
you
that
removed-
I'm
stipulation.
just asking, does it have to be a letter or is it an email?
No, they could send like
No, a
an
comment
end
is fine.
parentheses. They could send any.
Should we say what the email address is?
That's why I'm asking.
Good night,
Like, do they
everybody.
need an
What is
address
the...
or-
No, the email address is...
Bear Friend Tea Party at